Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're working still on the Cummins 2007 truck, getting ready for All Truck Challenge. We're knocking out some safety things, and then we're gonna street drive it, hot retorque it, strap it on the dyno, and figure out what this thing makes for power and how to make sure, number one, it's easy to drag race, and number two, we don't make too much power for the dyno. I know that sounds crazy, but what I learned last year, first place on the dyno really doesn't matter. It's all about being consistent. So we're working on our kill switch. Right now we're gonna use fuse 42. Fuse 42 allows us to run a 10 gauge wire back to the switch to satisfy the rules. We also got our catch can set up. This is temporary, I'll have to order another fitting. I only had 3 of them. So we have our breather hooked up. It does return to the block as I've shown you guys before. We have coolant in this thing. And as you guys saw in the last video, it does spool up pretty nice. So we're gonna do the safety switch, a little bit of sled pull, safety, and then take this thing out on the street. Okay, so we got fuse 42. Hey, push it back in.
It is.
Oh, it's back in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Started the truck, hit it. Oh, I love safety. So we got that all wrapped up. We're gonna zip tie this up and then work on some sled pull stuff. All right, guys, bumpers on, plates are on. Let's hit the road. It's dark, it's just the way it happened. We're out just doing some soft hits on this, build a little heat in it, and then we're gonna bring it back into a hot retorque. So nothing we're doing is gonna be rowdy or, oh my God, big power stuff. Just, you know, 500-600 horsepower rips. I'm trying to keep it below 30 pounds of boost. We'll get it nice and warm, kind of run it through its paces, make sure the fan clutch comes on, all that good stuff, the trans, the fuel pressure, and just kind of let it run its course for a couple of minutes. And then we'll bring it back to the shop and get the hot retorque done. So all these little clips here, again, this isn't something awe-inspiring. I just figured you guys would want to see the first couple of breaths of fresh air this thing takes. And honestly, really clean. I'm very impressed with the injector size being bigger, and it still is really, really clean. Again, we're getting out of the tow rig territory. Could you? Maybe, but this is getting out of hand on the tow rig side. Good. I forgot to mention, we kind of missed it in a little of the video. You guys saw a little bit. we put a Yukon Grizzly locker in the back of this truck. And what happens when you go around turns now under power, it's going to lock very, very, very quickly. So it's gonna chirp going around tires. It is not a spool, but it is a very, very aggressive locker, which is good. That's what you want for sled pulling, but we'll just have to deal with it during the street drive. It's gonna be a good time. But I cannot get over how clean this is. Guys, no funny business. These are about a 300% over injector now from DDP, and still a single extra G. The only thing I have noticed, it's a little hotter cruising, so I think I'm gonna pull a little bit more fuel away. But other than that, I'm quite thrilled with it. And we do have to turn down the air-regulated air dog. It's making a little too much fuel pressure at high boost, so we'll turn that down. I don't know about you guys, but this is where our diesel's at. Keep in mind, we're a little higher than most places because we live on a freaking mountain. So we pay like a transaction surcharge, I think is what they call it. But I mean, check this out, guys. No leaks. Look at that. No leaks at all. I am pumped. This is gonna be a good setup. And look at how clean that idles. Look at that. Nothing. This hood, I spray painted this by hand, so it doesn't look the best, but god dang, she is back, leak free, getting fuel, ready to make some power here shortly. I am pumped. And guys, look at that oil pressure at idle, 20 psi, hot oil. That's a good build. Like I said, we were pretty low. This takes 30 gallons, and I think it's 32 actually. So we were down there. If we're gonna run on the dyno and all that stuff, we got to make sure it's fueled up. Okay, so that time lapse was a hot retorque. It's all about speed. These barely moved. I got maybe 1/8 of a turn on some. So although it may have been a waste, it's a waste that I was willing to sacrifice on. So guys, when you do a hot retorque, initial torque on the engine stand, do it. We got it warm without any oil on it. Hit it again, okay? That was the second retorque. That one, it moved a ton. Third retorque, you guys saw on the street drive, we went, nothing crazy, 30, 35 pounds of boost. Got it back here, ripped it apart as fast as we could. Everything looked good. That tells me we can probably just put the rocker arms on and not check lash. However, we are gonna check it. It's too late in the game to make a mistake. So we'll put this all back together after it cools off for a little bit. And honestly, we might probably just hang out for a little bit. I spared you guys the boredom of putting it all back together. Everything looked good. Got a small trans leak. I'm not really sure where that's coming from, but we'll get that tomorrow. Street drive went good. Cam didn't move around, which means the braking was good. Head studs, like I said, barely moved. Kill switch done, sled pole prep done. Really, guys, we have to get it on the dyno, make sure we have all our safety equipment, and that's about it. I mean, we are extremely close. We're gonna probably work on this tomorrow, and then for the rest of the week, probably help Todd get his truck ready, but felt good to have this girl up and running again. We are back again today for the dyno session. Huge thank you to our good buddy Gordon for walking me through. Let's see if this thing starts any better now. Not so poppy. Turns out I was wrong and Gordon was right. So, you know, that's why it pays to have good friends. This is a traditional common rail file. You guys can see there a little bit of haze, but I mean, this engine is stone cold. And let's get it over to the dyno bay and see what she do. We have her all strapped up, 2 on the hitch, 1 on the diff. And then we got the 2 on the front. Sorry about the sunlight, guys. Kind of is what it is at this point. So we clearly still have a nice trans leak, which I'm gonna look into a little bit. But we got her all strapped. We'll roll it, make sure it's true, and then start hitting it. So now we're rolling it. I just put it in neutral, or reverse. First, yeah. And then just check the straps. Last thing we want this thing doing is coming off the dyno. So I'm happy with it. Check the fronts. Good. Okay, so we're getting our dyno set up here. Rear wheel, we are going in reverse because we have the truck on backwards. And we're gonna come over here. Probably start at 2500. Let's make sure we got auto RPM. Yep. Let's go turn on the breaker. Okay. Here we go. First run. Oh, sweet. Well, didn't say, but we can look at the min max. So 806, 1281. I'm gonna assume that was well on its way up. All right, so first one down. Not too bad. Everything looks okay. Freaking trans is killing us, but oh well. We'll have to make it work. Everything good. 800 horse run. Let's check the head gasket. Yep, we good. That was a good learning experience. Obviously, I did not turn the dyno on, so we're gonna flash in revision. What happened was I had it limiting rail pressure, but when I did the limiting on rail pressure, it was in a cell that I had not adjusted to lower duration. So truck made like 800 horsepower. We were at about 50% throttle, and I'm sure all of you guys are gonna want to see the log, so hold on here. some charts. So if you guys can figure out here, basically what happened is we hit a part of the cell that I had not adjusted. This should only say 1000 US. So the rail pressure actual versus desired is kind of, there we go, that looks a little better. So rail pressure is a little bit around, that kind of happens with these 14 mil pumps. All honesty, I am not a professional tuner, but that's kind of where we're at. And then you guys can see here, we only went 50% throttle and it made 800 horsepower. And this was, we hadn't even hit the 140 mm's cubed of commanded fuel. So for those of you guys that aren't familiar with any of this, I would love to tell you what's going on here, but I am learning just like you guys are. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll do this. Honestly, I feel like it's wrong of me to do anything because I'm learning this from Gordon. So shout out to my man, but little stuff like this, I'll at least show you guys. This will help educate you when it comes to making revisions on your truck and asking the tuners and stuff like that. This is kind of why the data they're asking for is so important, so they can make these nice corrections. How much?
186. Dude, you picked up 81 horsepower.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's 7 seconds.
Yeah, it felt like forever.
200 RPM.
I feel like the dyno's acting up, honestly.
I mean, for 7 seconds.
40? That's it. So. Check it out under the hood. Everything appears to look okay. Should be alright. Okay, we're gonna try tune 3. Okay, so it didn't really like 3 either. Interesting. You know, mistakes were made. Let's try it again. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we got the rail pressure thing figured out. You guys can see commanded versus actual right there. We're gonna let the truck cool off for a second, and then we're going to look at that analog and figure out what the heck is going on. Okay, we're gonna try an unloaded run because something's not, it seems like the dyno is holding us back. So we're gonna run this thing unloaded. Might not make the power, but I wanna make sure it can actually rev. Okay guys, on that last run it did like 880 horsepower. The good thing that I'm seeing is we hit all our commanded set points. It did like 75 pounds of boost at 180 or 1800 US. So even though the dyno's not reading right, it is what it is. We are there, and this is just what we're gonna have to deal with. But it's okay. Learning as we go. We'll drive it on the street and make sure, but I'm not too worried about the tuning now. We took this one well into the 4,000 RPM and everything looked fine. So I'm happy. We're gonna get it off the dyno. Well, at least we got one thing. Clean. And it looks like our trans line has stopped leaking. That's old. I do know that's old, so got that fixed. Not bad. Well, in a quick overview, nothing exploded. We made 70 pounds of boost on the dyno. We've made more than that on the street, so we're pretty sure the dyno is wrong. Or something's going on. The head gasket's not blown. Guys, this kind of stuff happens. I don't know what's going on with our dyno. It's done this before where it like the load holds the truck at like 2,800 RPM. I don't know why. Usually it's like an update or something and then it goes away. This time there was no update. We ran it unloaded. The best way we could calculate it made like 900 horsepower. Again, that's missing some things in that equation, but it made about 900 horsepower in tune 3. Tune 1, 2, and 3, we checked. We got full RPM, and I think we're good. As much as I'd love to see how much it makes, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get the dyno dialed in time. So we're just gonna kind of go off of what it used to do at a certain duration versus what it does now at a certain duration, and just kind of hope for the best. Not how I wanted it to go, but unfortunately that's how this has to go. Just out of time. It sucks, but again, we'll have to figure it out. Not a big deal. Huge thank you to Gordon for helping us out. We got the tuning dialed in. It's hitting all its commanded points. It was a great learning experience for me. There's a lot that goes into tuning. I have been doing common rails for quite a few years now, and I understand the concepts, which I think is why I can understand what the tuning's trying to do. Gordon was big in helping me figure out the workarounds and stuff like that. So again, huge thank you to him. I will stop bumping my gums. This thing street drives. It does run on the dyno. Just checked. It did do a burnout. Everybody's gone, so you'll miss out on that. But as always, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Originally, I had this video set to end there, but after much frustration and everything, turns out this clamp had worked its way off and this boot was blown. So I don't know if it was the dyno or the tuning or this or whatever, but we kind of changed a few things, got this tightened back up, did a boost leak test. Everything's good. We're gonna get it strapped down and try to redeem our 800 horsepower number. Just running it on the dyno to get it hot. Okay, hot retort did not move, so we are good to beat it. Okay guys, here we go. Pole number 1. Okay guys, a little bit of a panic mode there. We blew the same boot again, so we're gonna put a fresh clamp on there. You guys can kind of see what it does. Put a fresh clamp on and hope for the best. I think something in this compound setup kind of moved a little. Okay, we think it's gonna hold. Okay guys, the dyno's doing the exact same thing it did last night, so clearly interstage was not the problem. Oh well, I guess we're gonna roll into this one blind. Okay, so we're gonna try an unloaded run. It's not gonna make the boost, but hopefully we see what we want. It's gonna be 2 and 3. We have to kind of look at the dyno roller horsepower because the load's off. That's why the breaker's off. So Meyer, what did we make?
It made about, well, 1150, but there's some calculations.
Yeah, so we're missing the rolling resistance. So that was 2 and 3, 1200 horsepower pole, 70 pounds of boost. So I'm gonna say, I mean, the brakes are just taking a pounding. Because what happens is, guys, when the eddies don't work, the truck won't slow itself down, which is why it kind of and then came back down. That's me on the brakes slowing down the truck and the eddies without the auto stop. So that really sucks. And if you try to hit the breaker to slow the truck down,
it makes a loud slam.
Yeah, it's no good. So 1200 horsepower, I'll take it. 2 and 3, that'll work.
Not loaded.
Here's the data log. We hit all our commanded set points. Everything looks good. I am super pumped. Pilot came off on time. And again, there you guys go. 1800 US, 5.9 rail pressure. And it did great. Cleaned up the fuel. And I'm very, very happy with how the tune ran. Everything looks good, smooth. Truck didn't bounce around too much for a 14 mil pump. You guys can kind of see down here, the commanded fuel rate was very on top of it. Even the rail pressure wasn't too far off. It pretty much got what it was asking for. Okay, originally, guys, this was the manifold charger on the triple turbo, which is why it had that funky flange on it. Well, luckily, you guys saw there, Meyer cut it on the mill. He cut this flange down, and then we had a blown up turbo from a long time ago. And Shad, shout out to everybody who was a big fan of you.
I know, I don't know why. It's not like I really
You're
do
the Lord
anything.
and Fabricator.
And Lord and Fabricator.
So this man just welded this on. So now we have full slip discharge for that boot, and hopefully we stop blowing that boot off. So dyno went good, turbo problem fixed. We're rocking and rolling. There you guys go. We got the whole compound put back on. I don't think we're gonna have any more boot problems. Not gonna dyno it anymore. Probably do a couple more street hits. We really just gotta change the oil and get packed. So all in all, good night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm glad we didn't end it on a sour note. Sometimes it's best to just walk away. I wasn't sure if it was the tuning or the dyno. Tonight I'm positive that it's a dyno issue and not a tune issue. So I'm happy we got the questionable interstage pipe taken care of, and I think this thing's ready to rip. Like I said, quick oil change, throw some more PDD 2050 in there, fresh filter, make sure the trans looks good, and and we're ready to go. So hopefully you guys like this video. Drop a comment down below. Take a guess on what this thing will make it ultimate truck challenge or all truck challenge. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will catch you on the next one.